freaking awesome, man.
Here's everything I know about acrylic paints.
Scott!
When shading with a pencil, you control.
What the hell is that? What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at some art tutorials and art tips from YouTube Shorts. Now, YouTube, unlike TikTok, has always been very good to me and my mental health, so I have high expectations for today.
If you also think your line art drawing looks worse than your sketch, there could be a couple reasons for that. First, you have a messy sketch. When you look at this, your brain tends to automatically filter out all the noise and create a line it thinks is correct. When doing line art, you have to make these decisions for yourself. The second thing could be that your arm is unable to draw the lines you want it to draw. So instead of drawing a curve, you straighten out the line like this. Pay very close attention to the sketch when you do your line art. Lastly, and I'm sorry to say this, but maybe the drawing is just bad. As soon as you clean up the sketch, every mistake comes to the surface, and the only way to fix this is to practice.
Right. But one tip that I want to add on to this video is that another reason your line art might not look good is because you have no line variation. That means there's no changes in the thickness and thinness and the darkness and the lightness of your lines. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up line quality. It's absolutely essential in making good looking line art. That's going to be a solid 9 out of 10. We're starting off strong, guys.
Here's an art tip. Life will be so much easier if you think of drawing as makeup. First, put on blush on the cheeks and eyes, add lipstick, put on eye contacts, then whatever this is. For the eyes, put on mascara, some eyeliner, and bottom lashes. Brighten up the inner corner. For the nose contour, start with the eyebrow, and then just curve it outwards like this. Add a shadow on the tip of the nose. Let's use concealer to brighten up the nose and mouth. Rise. Anyway, add juicy highlights. And I added more lashes to make her more emo. So I finished up on the hair. Lastly, I added fake freckles, because that's what's up. Done.
Ah, there we go. Should we do not interested or don't recommend channel? I think maybe don't recommend channel. Yeah, let's do that. 1 out of 10.
Day 7 of drawing every day for 30 days. As it was a new sketchbook, I wanted to make something cool on the first page. And I decided to draw Gojo. And after making a rough stick figure, I began with...
My God. But am I getting old? Or is this editing style too much? Like...
And after some time, I began drawing again. And then I used a thick pen to darken those rough lines. In the end, I also used watercolors to add some texture. And finally, after adding some details, something went wrong. I even tried to fix it, but it kept on getting worse.
That's a sick drawing. I mean, I don't think anything went wrong there. I think the challenge here is to improve drawing skills in just 30 days. Look, it can be very tempting to want to speed things up and do it very quickly, but my advice to everybody watching this video is to take it at a pace that you can manage and don't burn yourself out. I think it's better to draw once a week for 5 years than to draw once a day for 3 months in a row and just completely burning yourself out and losing all passion for art. 5 out of 10 for frying my brain.
Digital art sucks, so here are 3 tips I wish I knew before I started drawing digitally. Finding a reliable set of brushes is really important for getting your desired look. Just like finding good supplies in real life, it's really important to do so digitally. Stop spamming undo when you sketch. You're never gonna get the perfect line, and you waste a bunch of time. That rhyme was not intentional. And lastly, your first month or so is gonna feel really awkward and weird, so just be prepared to relearn everything you thought you knew.
Nice and concise, straight to the point. That's a 10 out of 10. I especially like this last point here because I know a lot of people get discouraged when they first start digital art because it's very uncomfortable. You know, you're drawing on a glass screen and there can be a feeling of disconnect, but exactly like you said, it's going to require you to learn some new skills. Just be patient with yourselves and the results will come.
How the heck do you draw hair? Here's what I did to learn it. I started by taking a softish kind of brush and trying to directly copy what I saw, but it doesn't look very good. When I get confused by studying something, I try to simplify it down so I understand it better. I tried restricting myself to fewer values, which helped a lot. I also tried looking for references with a stronger light source so that the light and shadow was clearly defined, which makes it easier for me to simplify. I also get to practice drawing that distinctive hair highlight that we love. I learned that for all types of hair, you don't really need to draw every single strand, but understanding the color properties of hair and having good control of values will make it look like hair.
Yes, that is perfect. In all of my hair tutorials that I've ever done, the very first step that I always take is to simplify the shadow values and the light values. If you're trying to learn something, break it down, simplify, make it as easy to absorb as possible for yourself. 10 out of 10. You guys, dude, I love my YouTube community. You guys are freaking awesome, man.
Here's everything I know about acrylic paints. Scott! But just like black licorice, country music, and coffee, acrylics and I just don't get along. We just weren't meant to be. But on a dare, or maybe under duress, I broke out the accursed acrylics one more time during our live the other day and made a complete mess. I don't know what it is about them. They feel like they're weighted or something, like I'm dragging chunks of jello around on the paper. It's icky. There, I said it. Acrylics are icky and I don't like them, okay? I spent an hour sloshing around with them and Poor Igor. Look what I've done to you. For reference, here's Igor done 8 years ago in gouache. See how fun that is? How the colors are subtle? They blend. They don't give me agita.
See, what I love about this, aside from Scott, is the fact that he's not afraid to actually try a new medium and realize he doesn't like it. And that's all just part of being an artist, you know, finding the types of paint that works for you, finding the pencils that work for you, finding the software that works for you, or finding the prompts. Oh wait, pick up a pencil and follow along with one of my tutorials. You can do it. You can do it.
A common mistake artists make when drawing the shoulders is making them flat. The shoulders are made up of two bones. The collarbones, which originate from the sternum, and the shoulder blade, which attaches to the collarbones at the side. This gives us a three-plane structure, front, side, and back. There's a muscle on top of these bones called the deltoid, which also has three heads, front, side, and back. Because of this, we're able to simplify it to a boxy form. To fix the mistake, start by drawing the collarbones. Then when you attach the shoulder blades, make sure you first draw the side plane so that the shoulders actually have depth to them.
I missed the entire back half of the video because of the box. But you know what, the point here is very valid. I think a lot of people tend to think of the shoulder as just a slight bulge on the side of the arm, when in reality, you know, if you go to the gym, you know that there's a front delt, side delt, and a rear delt, and you got to hit all three. So there's actually a lot of three-dimensionality in that deltoid shape, and you have to be aware of the angle that you're viewing your character from. Now again, you can use boxes to determine the volume and perspective of the body that you're looking at, but as long as you're not using them as a base for organic shapes, you should be fine. This is going to be a solid 8 out of 10.
Hard hacks you didn't know. Use a pencil to copy awesome rubbings.
Ha.
Pop a sponge inside your cup for easier brush cleaning. Got leftover acrylic paint? Toss it in a bag with a damp paper towel. No more dried up paint disasters.
I've never seen this sponge tip before. I feel like that's actually really helpful. If only I still painted traditional. 10 out of 10. Good job.
This is my sketch.
Can you finish the painting?
This reference is...
You call that a sketch? You dirty little man. Dirty. Filthy. It's... Oh.
This reference is hard because the shadow is no obvious shape due to a direct light. But we need to add the shadow to create a 3D effect. Then use a texture brush for background and hair to look painterly and stylish. Now the face might seem complicated, but what we need to do is add layers of light and shadow, creating a defined facial structure. Lastly, use the same texture brush to add some final touches, and this is before and after. Did we improve the sketch?
Oh, that is so good, dude. What the heck? That's a nice reference, bro. I might have to steal this reference real quick. I love the flash lighting here. Learn to control your pencil. Deliberate mark making. Okay. Ah, I see. I see. Blending. Oh yeah, you don't want to do that. Nope. Now, practicing your pencil control is a great exercise not just for colored pencils, but this can also apply to absolutely everything else. You know, this type of very fine micro motor control can absolutely translate to drawing on Photoshop or Procreate, for example. 10 out of 10. Good job. I'm handing 10 out of 10s left and right like tariffs.
Make bad art intentionally. What is the one piece of advice you wish you'd been given as a beginner artist? And that is so it for me. I literally wish that somebody had come down onto my little bed that I was painting on and just being like, Talia, stop being so perfect with it. The way that we take our art so seriously is literally it's so mind-boggling. Firstly, it is not...
I gotta agree. It is absolutely, truly, so mind-boggling.
How many times have you made a painting that you absolutely hated, but for some reason everybody else loved it? And the ones that you loved, nobody even really liked that much.
Yes.
That is the beauty of art. It is so subjective, and it is not our job to judge its quality and its worth in the world. It is our job to just get up and make it. And also, making bad paintings intentionally really just slaps perfectionism in the face, and then you're free.
Dude, I love that. I love that so much. This is such an important piece of advice, and I think this deserves millions of views. I know this would have helped me a ton when I was in my perfectionist stage, you know, and you just gotta understand, not every single one of your pieces has to turn out perfect. And you might absolutely hate a piece that you've made, but you might find that other people really love it. It's great. It's unpredictable, and that's art. And like she said, you should just intentionally make them imperfect. 10 out of, 11 out of 10. Oh.
When shading with a pencil, you control
what the hell is that?
The darkness of your tone by pressing harder on paper. Makes sense, right? But what about an ink pen? And what's with all these numbers? Oh my goodness, it never ends!
Oh my god!
Well, it's very simple. The smaller the number, the thinner your fine liner tip is, creating a difference in line thickness, you see. And when shading with ink, you could hatch or cross-hatch to create a pattern that increases in density the darker your shadows become. But you could also squiggle, maze draw, or even doodle your way into darker areas to create a unique shading texture, enhancing the quality of you not stopping here!
God, I love that doodle patch at the bottom. It's so satisfying. This is the thing about YouTube art tutorials. The reason they rarely miss is because you guys are actually cracked. You guys are like the best artists that I've ever seen. Trees. Okay. Is that your child? That is not a simple tree, dude. That is a very impressive tree. Oh my god. Out of 10.
For this oversized painting, I refined my acrylic technique to create brush marks that look like oils. One of the secrets is to not use water at all, because it creates these tiny pearls that mess up my crisp brush marks. To avoid that, I used a combination of 2 acrylic mediums. It's also important to work on a portrait canvas with a smooth surface, so that there isn't any texture interfering with my brush marks. Wow. I don't like the long drying times of oils, so I painted all details with acrylics like the swords and armor. Here I could use tape to achieve these perfect edges. For more details about my technique and to watch the full unedited painting process, join me on Patreon. Link is in my bio.
Ooh, damn! That's nice. That's real nice. I mean, acrylic too. Just goes to show, you know, Scott hates acrylic, and here's somebody who loves acrylic. There's something for everybody in art. You know, you can absolutely find your thing. 10 out of 10.
These are 10 of the weirdest art supplies that I own, starting with this eraser. It's in the shape of a human hair, but works just like a normal one. You can still erase.
What?
Next, I have this tiny paint set, and it works too. Here's one of my tiny paintings. These are color changing pens. On different paper, the color changes, just like this. Here's some drawings I did using these pens. I have this weird looking pencil with over 5 colors in it when you draw. Next, I have these Lego lightsabers. These are actually pens. Pretty cool, right? And speaking of Legos, the next one are these Lego bricks that you can draw with. They can stack too. Okay, speed round. I have this giant crayon, and next this very tiny sketchbook. I drew a tiny little Spider-Man. I have this mystery Pokemon eraser. Let's see which one I get. Pikachu?
It's like a strange crossover between an art YouTuber and a gadget reviewer. That's cool though. That's cool. This is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Mini painting. Oh.
Are you still struggling to draw the skin textures? No worries. Today I'm gonna share my secret little trick to help you get these mind-blowing results. All you need is a kneaded eraser and then point some random holes in it using a sharp tip pencil. Now here comes the magic. Tap the eraser onto the required area and you will have this subtle guide for the texture. And then use your B pencil and add these darker dots in the center of these lighter ones. It will make the pores look more 3D. And for the final touches, you can use your sharp tip erasers to add lighter highlights around them.
My God, you're telling me you have to draw every single pore on the face? Now, I'm sure this is very enjoyable for you because you're phenomenal at this, but this might be my personal hell. Just having to detail every pore on the face. Oh, Jesus, I'm shuddering just thinking about it. Very impressive, and I appreciate you sharing your secret with us. This is a 10 out of 10 for the patience alone. Just incredible. Here's another fun idea. Okay, what's this? Duplicate rectangles for a staircase. Ah, interesting. Okay, some highlights and markings. Oh, that looks nice. Wait a minute. Oh, you're tickling me. You're tickling me. That. Oh my God. Yo. Wait, this is so sick. Such a simple idea at the very start, and you just turn it into this beautiful painting. My God. 10 out of 10. 10s everywhere. 10s for everyone. I'm getting kind of tired of giving out 10 out of 10s. I'm not gonna lie. There you go. There's some YouTube art tutorials and art tips for you guys. Again, my fellow YouTubers do not disappoint. You guys are genuinely so good at what you do. I have nothing but admiration for y'all. Please keep it up. You guys are incredible. Anyways, guys, I hope you learned something new from these amazing artists. Go show them some love, show them some support. Subscribe to my channel if you guys want to see more art-related content, and check out my Patreon for monthly tutorials. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video. Incredible, 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 incredible. I can't believe my eyes.